Good afternoon, fellow Plexers. This will be a quick video to try to help out Fred in the Plex Media Server Support Group, who I'm sure is probably getting ready to watch the Super Bowl today. I may be the one man in America who doesn't watch sports. No football for me. Anyway, Fred had to recover his files off a hard drive, and now they're all named in gobbledygook ways. So we're going to see if MKV Toolnix can help fix some of those quicker than having to watch a movie to identify it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to enter these movie directories, and let me just do something that's not too random. And I'm just going to add an A next to it because we're going to name everything similarly. Now I'm purposely just renaming the movie, not the folders, but it really won't matter too much. So we'll put a B after that. If I rename the folders, I won't remember what I'm working with. Alright, so sometimes I do a little test run before a video. Lots of times it's cold. Today I had a test run. Alright, so let's rename this the same way, but we'll leave the information about it being a hearing impaired subtitle. Alright, so I need to get rid of that. Rename this. And we're on D. Doesn't really matter as long as it's not the same as I did before. Alright, two more left. Getting squirrely. Okay, so now we're going to open each one up in MKV Toolnix. And I'll open each one separately. Okay, so it opens up. We see that there's a video and an audio file inside the AVI container. If I go to output, I've got nothing. So if I hit start multiplexing, it's going to create a new container with that same file name. So this one, you'd have to watch the movie a little bit to try to identify it. Let's open this one with MK Toolnix. And if we hit output, now we know what that movie is because it was embedded from, I think it's something called a release ... group. So now if I hit start multiplexing, let it finish and close it down. Now a new container file is created alongside the old one, and if it was an MP4 file to start, it's going to be an MKV file when you get done. But now you can just delete that one, and now you can rename this with FileBot to get it back to normal. So now I can't write, oh, I can with an MP4. I can open that in MKV Toolnix under Pop! OS. So output shows nothing. So if you hit start multiplexing, it's just going to create a new copy of that in its own container. And you'll still have to watch some of the movie to figure out what it is. So that one's a fail. Click on output. This one's a pass, and you all know where this file came from. So we won't talk about that in the comments because that would be against group rules. And group rules is not a moral judgment on everyone. It's just a way to keep the group safe. So I can actually change this while I'm here. And I can make this into a simple compliant Plex file name. Nope, I didn't do it. I use the curly Q brackets instead. Get rid of that space. So I can do a little cleanup to the embedded metadata and just hit start multiplexing. And now I have the new container, same as the old, just with the embedded name applied to it. So we'll get rid of that. And this will be our example. We'll come back and do this one in FileBot. All right, so we have nothing to go on and nothing in the embedded subtitles either. So that one's a wash too. And let's do the hitchhiker. Well, let me get into the file. All right, so this one is pretty good. And again, we can adjust that file name if we want. And I let FileBot take care of adding the remastered tag. I'll just get rid of everything else. And again, you know where that came from. So when I hit start multiplexing, we're left with an exact copy just with a name applied from the embedded metadata. So I'll do two at once. The hitchhiker, and I was going to do, not the pot of gold, royal wedding. So I'll open them both in FileBot. And now I could just use the default binding, match, skip episode mode, go to movie mode, and hit the movie database. And it's going to give it simple file names. I could use FileBot's custom expression. For that, I have to hold down the Shift key because I've added my own. And I could do organize movies for Plex. But this expression by FileBot is going to create this folder structure. It's going to put it in a folder named media and a subfolder named movies. And then it will add the proper folder name and movie file name. And the folder will have the TMDB source ID. My custom expression does that and more. Mine will add this remastered as an addition tag. And I've got plenty of videos showing how to do that. So if I do the movie database, because I didn't rename my original folders, I'm just going to rename only. But this would create the folder structure too. Alright, so you see the addition tag is added, the source ID tag is added, and my extra little bit that adds media characteristics to the file name is added too. So I'll just hit rename. And this is beautiful. And that's beautiful. And because I saved the tags in the subtitle file name, my expression also handles external subtitles. FileBot can't tell a hearing impaired or a forced subtitle apart from the default subtitle. But if you throw a .sdh or a .forced after the file, when you run it through FileBot with the subtitle features enabled, it'll add the extension for the language, and then, like I usually just put a lowercase sdh to flag it. It'll capitalize that, and it'll add the forced part too. So FileBot's great, but Fred's problem is way past FileBot, but a combination of MKV Toolnix and FileBot will help him recover a lot of media without manually having to watch it to then identify it to rename manually, basically in a way to get FileBot to recognize it from there. So Fred, I feel your pain. It's enough to make a grown man cry who owns a Plex server. Happy Sunday. Try to take your mind off, and I hope this lessens your workload a little bit. Take care.